This is 4 guys, 1 film, and this is Godzilla Minus One. I think one of the main reasons why we reviewed it is because it came out on Netflix on a kind of a surprise. You know, nobody was expecting it to come out on Netflix so soon, and wow, what a great fucking movie to watch. So I kind of want to start this conversation because it has a very very personal feeling, this movie, because it doesn't just be like, oh, I'm gonna do all the tropes of just being a major action film or just like a major like monster movie where you just see destruction, all of it. No, most of the destruction that happened was because of humans. We see most of the interaction is very human based, and I appreciate that in the story because they did. George, what the fuck are you doing? What? No. What are you doing?
You said
this
restart.
son of a bitch. You have my full attention, bro.
You fucking piece of garbage. All right, we're sorry. For the listeners out there, we have a piece of shit named George.
Hey, he was taking too long anyway. All right, let's get into this,
You're
boys.
starting to ramble like a guy, Nick.
Oh,
all right,
Jesus.
Yeah, is that semi-intentional?
All right. Well, I think what I liked about this movie, jumping right back into it. Thank you, George, for interrupting. By the way, I like the fact that there's a big there's a big world that's going on because they set a pretty good setting, which is post-war Japan. They set up they see the transformation as Japan is trying to come out of post-war Japan and they're rebuilding and all that stuff. So there's an actual story here that revolves about a character, the main character, which is Koichi, and he was a kamikaze pilot that pussied out. He pussied out, and then he's
no honor.
It's because they didn't have Linkin Park back then.
Yeah, he pussied out twice actually.
Jesus Christ! Hey, too soon for a Chester joke.
Hey, no. I'm saying if they would have been blasting numb inside the fucking thing, they would have. Shit, he would have done it.
So you're telling me that wasn't a joke about Chester?
No, it really wasn't.
That's
but that
fucked
worked.
up, Nick.
That
That's
worked.
It's fucked up that you'd think that, George.
Yeah.
What the?
I was gonna go with System
what
of a
other
Down
reference?
too. I was like, I don't care, just any one of these emo fucking.
Look, all I'm saying is, I mean, even though for them, bitching out of that is like the ultimate, like you're bringing dishonor to the.
Yeah.
To your
Well, that's why they were
country.
shitting on him so
I don't know.
much.
Would you guys do it? I wouldn't be able to do
No,
it, bro.
I
I
don't
don't. I mean, like
I'm about to
you'll
do it live
it.
on this podcast.
But you know what? I think as a little bit of spoilers, if you guys haven't seen it, like as the movie progresses, people understand why the fuck he did it. Like it's not like they were gonna win the war. Like they all like they were like, yeah, you did it. Yeah, you're kind of a piece.
I
of
don't
shit.
blame him, dude. I'm
Like,
like,
no, like,
it's a lost cause.
Like
For what?
like 5 years later when he finally tells them like, oh, like it's not that big of a deal. When he tells his crew members in the boat and stuff, they're like, you know what, you're kind of right. But going back, like I think this movie sets a hard theme about the actual like humans that are involved in the in the movie, instead of just like, oh, I'm just gonna see Godzilla destroy things and like be like.
But it was a perfect balance of humanity and destruction.
Yeah,
it wasn't like one more than the other. Actually, I would have preferred a little bit more Godzilla.
Really, I think it was the perfect amount because one, it didn't look like shit with CG, right? Like
Dude, they won the Oscar for this bad boy.
Exactly, like it looked great, like visually speaking, it didn't look choppy, it didn't look cheap, it didn't look rushed.
So I agree with Gator on this. I don't think that it needed more Godzilla, because think about it. The budget, the reason that they were able to pull this off for $15 million is because Godzilla wasn't on screen for a majority of it, and the time that he was on screen, it was crisp, it was delicious, and it was good.
And it was crude.
But-
like Godzilla, like every time, every time Godzilla came onto screen, it had a purpose and he had a reason for being there. It wasn't just like
terror.
Destruction. I'm gonna like in the last one,
Yeah.
fucking Kong versus fucking.
Yeah, you look at something
all
like
they did
that.
was they fight. They fought for like 45 minutes.
I saw a side-by-side comparison between the two, and literally, like, the Kong versus Godzilla looks like it's an action hero movie, and where it's like
he's got the Infinity Gauntlet.
It's a lizard and a monkey working together to defeat whatever.
Super monkey.
But it's also like, that's the reason those movies rack up millions and millions of dollars in budget, because they're spending so much on the CGI and the screen time for the characters that.
But where's the story?
The story's not there. It's in this case, it's about the humans.
The story is
and
here, minus one.
Godzilla is almost kind of like a side character, and he's actually a bad guy. Where in the other ones, they always try to make him an anti-hero and like kind of make him like, oh.
They're trying to give humanity.
Sometimes Godzilla's her.
They're trying to give us humanity to and. Which I appreciate and I don't, just that they don't do a good way of doing it. But going back to this movie, like you also see Godzilla transform as a villain, because you at the beginning when you first see him in the first like 10 to 15 minutes, you see him as like a cartoon character. Like he doesn't even look that threatening, to be honest. Like
it's just teenage Godzilla.
Not even teenage Godzilla. I think it's just the unmutated Godzilla, because this is before, I think, right after or before they dropped the bomb.
I feel like it'd be a little bit right after. Because it's
they
post-war, isn't it?
They did show the scene where the bomb was dropped and then Godzilla was underwater.
Yeah.
So I think that made it like kind of accelerate whatever evolution he was experiencing.
Which is nice because the original Godzilla film was like a response to that. All that happened.
See, I think that's one of the interesting things about this take on it. It's more on like the Japanese people and the threat of, nuclear war or issues again, where Godzilla represents, that threat. We're in the
America.
US. Yeah, we're in the US. The Western culture, they depict Godzilla as like almost a good guy, and you're just kind of like, that's completely, taken away from the source material. And I think that's why a lot of these modern ones flop and they don't do as well. So,
but even the Japanese themselves turned Godzilla into a pop culture icon that was just a guy in a rubber suit.
We saw him in fucking Shinjuku, no?
Shinjuku,
yeah, we saw him.
Oh, we sure did.
We saw him, dude.
By the Toho Hotel, I think.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah, actually, at the time when we went, Minus One didn't come out yet, and when I was in Shinjuku, I saw them ride around like this giant Godzilla head, like of that Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like this huge diorama of his head.
Oh wait, are you guys referring to the one that's in the center or whatever? And it's
like
well, no, it was that one, but I saw another one that they had probably for like.
But you guys saw that in person?
Yeah.
Oh shit, was it?
That's pretty dope.
It was pretty cool.
I always see videos of it, but how was it in person?
They do like the screech, like
sick,
like 2 or 3 times a day. And as going back to the movie, as the story continues, like we see the evolution of all the characters to actually become better versions of themselves.
Except for
even Godzilla.
Akichi, or what's the daughter's name? She just started crying.
The little girl. Oh, dude, she was adorable, man.
She was adorable.
Yeah, but she just got more crybaby though. I'm just saying she developed.
Well, I feel like
because her mom was dead.
I feel like every character in that movie, transformed into a positive version of themselves, except for Godzilla. He just kept getting meaner and meaner as the thing went on, and.
Which was pretty awesome. I think this is Godzilla's best interpretation. We did see Shin Godzilla, I remember, and I like that Godzilla, but that one's more of like a freak of nature, and this one's more of an actual like beast.
I don't think
a
I've
force
seen that
of
one.
nature.
So what would you say is the biggest difference?
Didn't we see Shin Godzilla here together?
Yeah. I don't think George was. I think that's when George didn't show up, and we were like, we'll just see it without him.
Yeah.
I was sick, by the way.
Sick of us.
No.
But diving into the characters, like you look at the main character himself, like you see, like, man, this guy, like, he was kind of a puss. Going back to what I said, like, but
Koichi.
Yeah, but he redeems himself pretty well.
I don't think he redeems himself because he wanted to. I think he redeems himself because he felt like he had to. Right. Because like,
isn't that the same thing?
No. Because I feel like if you're
can't do things you don't want.
No, I know, but like. If those people didn't die, I think he'd still probably be in the same position. I think he'd probably be a bum somewhere.
Shikishima?
Yeah, like he'd probably be a bum, and he probably wouldn't if he wouldn't have adopted Aiko and Akiko and Noriko, like he probably would have just been like, well, I could bum it out by myself. Like, there's not a job. I'm not gonna go look for anything. Like, he's forced to change because
and he wouldn't have taken such a dangerous thing.
Yeah, and
did you guys feel that he was already suicidal beforehand?
Yeah, for sure.
That was the kind of like the interesting thing is it felt like the whole movie, it was like, well, you didn't commit suicide as a kamikaze pilot, but you're kind of already suicidal. Yeah. And like I think it was just because like he was just diving deper and deeper into like
but it's a different cause,
No, but
right.
But I think a lot of it had to do culturally because like when he first came back, his neighbor was like,
my kids would have been alive.
Yeah, like you had to be a fucking puss. Like you signed up for this. Like, why are you being a fucking puss?
Yeah.
And so,
do you really get to sign up to be a kamikaze pilot? I feel like you
I think they kind of
you probably get chosen. And
it's like,
just
hey, you're up, man.
This is your duty, boy. Yeah. They roll the dice.
Like that guy in Pearl Harbor, he fucked up. Okay. He tried to hit the USS Missouri, hit the side of the ship, didn't blow up anybody.
Yeah.
Could you imagine going out like that? They
had a photograph of him and everything, and the U.S. Army men were like, "Oh man, we feel bad for this guy," and they still covered his body and buried him as their own.
Yeah.
The American soldiers did that.
Can't believe you laughed at that, George.
I mean, it would just suck, bro. Imagine like your entire life summed up to that moment, and
he had his heart
kind
in
of fumble
it. He
it.
had his heart in it,
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's like how the kamikaze were seen. Like, bro, like this is an honor. You fucking go out there and you get them.
Yeah,
and that's the last thing you're gonna get.
What's crazy is like if they Nick.
It wasn't really an honor because it was a last resort on part of the Japanese.
But I was gonna say, wasn't that also like a part of just them not even thinking about an ejection seat. Like that was kind of like the whole purpose of what Tachibana was eventually like. He incorporated it because the war had ended and they realized like, oh shit, the Americans actually cared about their pilots. Yo, that's crazy. And then they were like, oh, so Tachibana had like one of the later.
Well, if you look at it in actual historical point of views, the Japanese Mitsubishi Zero, like, was a far superior fighter up until like 1944. Like, it was just like the only reason that we have better fighters is because we stole them and we figured out how to outmaneuver them essentially. So the biggest issue with the Japanese Mitsubishi Zero is that when they went up to a vertical climb, if it went too much, it went too much at an angle. So like let's say about like 13 degrees straight up, the carburetor in there, because it wasn't fuel injected, so the carburetor would actually would either not have enough gas in it to continue pumping the engine, or it would either flood when it was going at certain angles. So American fighters used this at their advantage because they had fuel injected Mustangs and just pretty much beat the Japanese Zeros.
So, like, did you know that before this, like, right before this episode, or, like, did you always know this?
I always knew this. Like, if you look at my YouTube...
Fresh out of the womb, dude.
That's crazy.
Dude, fresh out of the womb. If you look at my YouTube history...
Knowledge.
Like...
You know when you're so impressed, you don't even listen to what they're saying?
Thanks for the history lesson. Anyway, nerd.
Wow.
So...
I'm sorry,
no life.
Wait, so even...
I got a Mustang.
What I think is crazy, though, it's like...
I was listening.
Even if they were chosen, it's like, hey, this is your destiny. You got to bring honor to the country. And then, let's say you desert, and you're just like, I'm not doing it.
Right.
They're still going to be like, well, you need to commit seppuku and kill yourself. Seppuku.
Well,
isn't that crazy? It's just like, either kill yourself or we kill you.
Or Sudoku.
Yeah. George, you didn't pay attention because he didn't commit treason. He went in there saying, hey, I have a failure with my machine. And then they're like, "Oh, okay, shit. I'm sorry.
You did lie, so technically."
Yeah, and then Tachibana, when he talked to him later, and I was like, "Hey, dude, did you really like I looked at your plane. It looked fine. You should have been able to do your mission." And then as they were trying to having that transaction, fucking Godzilla came out of nowhere and fucking started wrecking shit.
Just ruined the conversation.
Yeah, no,
what a dick.
And then like Tachibana kind of like forgave him, like, all right, whatever. And then Tachibana was like, "Hey, stop being a puss. Go shoot that 20 millimeter." But
really beat the shit out of him too. First time he saw him in a while.
Yeah, you know what? He kind of deserved it because he was putting out. You know, he wanted to catch a fade. He was saying some shit about him in the paper, dude.
Well, I also feel like every scene that Godzilla's in, you feel it. Like it's you feel the mass of the monster and the torment and the destruction that he brings. Whereas in other Godzilla movies, I feel like they're on screen, but I'm just kind of like,
What I also like is it feels like Godzilla plays like a really big role in either disrupting the peace or adding to the tension of an already tense like interaction. Like you talked about the beginning, they're on the island bickering, he shows up, and then even when it's like, oh, things are finally settling down, it's good. He then all of a sudden shows up where Noriko is working. It's just like fuck, like they can't catch a break.
They can't catch a break,
and so it's crazy.
No, I love seeing this version of Godzilla because it's kind of like the reason I really like this movie is because you can see how humanity comes together, and it's like this is a problem that we can beat together. And you know, I think there's just layers to it because obviously it's like post World War II, and then they even mention it in it. It's like, you know, like the government has used us as just pawns. They don't care about us. They just let us die, and I don't want any of you to die doing this. And then
that was kind of the biggest thing because like the ex sailors were like, "Dude, why do you want us to sign up for this? Like, you're just sending us to die again, like you did with the kamikazes." And then
he's like, "Nah, man, it's different.
It's different. Like we have a plan." Like,
that's the crazy part is where they actually said this time we actually feel like we have a chance at least.
Yeah,
I was like, "Holy shit,
damn, Godzilla!" And the U.S.
and that like hits hard, you know, like with the historical context of everything that happened, you know, and it's like really tragic what happened, but Godzilla was a way for him to come together, you know, after all that.
Yeah, who knew it was Dr. Daddy Oppenheimer that caused this fucking shit to
Dude, that doctor was a shit, man.
Yeah. Dude, okay, so my biggest gripe with this movie was when Noriko decided to like Noriko-san decided to sacrifice herself to push the guy into the alleyway. I'm like, Dick, you could have just gone into the alleyway with him, and like what pissed me off is that
jump in there and both of you.
Yeah, exactly. Or
it's like Independence Day with the dog.
Koichi like just decided like, oh, I'm not gonna go look for her. I'm not gonna look for her at a fucking hospital.
To be fair, the fact that she's alive is not even fucking real. The amount of speed the rubble had as it was flying past his head.
Now did she did?
I don't know. It was the Godzilla blood. We got a pretty hard scene after that with the Godzilla blood raining on him.
Yeah.
That was pretty metal.
Dude, but you know, and again, him fucking being
I was like, Nani?
like what I didn't get, and you know, you remember when the captain was talking to him, he was like, "Hey,
El Capitan."
he was like, she died, and you didn't even ask her to fucking marry you, fucking puss. Like,
and he's like,
everyone
my
just
war's
called
not
him
over.
a fucking,
Yeah.
The entire film.
and like,
just
dude,
called him a bitch.
like, dude, get over it, dude. Like, stop being a fucking puss. Like, dude, he was such a fucking puss.
Yeah, they were like, "Is this your wife?" He's like, "Nah."
Huh?
What?
And then,
Front,
What made
for
you
her
think
to hear
that?
and then like
too.
the next day, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna get myself a job and become an independent woman. And then he was all fucking hurt. He was like,
Right.
who's gonna take care of the kid? Who's gonna cook and clean? He's
Right.
like, well, now, like you said, we don't have to do any of that shit anymore.
Typical.
Like he was such
Very
He was
typical.
such a little fucking bitch. Like I don't like the lack of maturity in this man. Crazy.
But I think that goes super heavy into what Alexis was saying before we started recording about how exaggerated the emotions are. Like the only person who I feel like really didn't have much of that was like Noriko, and like maybe like you know who else did like actually probably one of my favorite characters was Doc. Like I felt like
he was pretty level headed.
he was level headed. He was very like comforting and sympathetic.
Who
the fuck?
Not me.
So back to the show.
Back
Nick.
to
Where were you-
Godzilla.
But all right, so getting back into it, yeah, I think the characters in here, yeah, by far, Doc was probably the most level-headed and sensible character. I think, like,
I was gonna say lovable.
and lovable too. Absolutely. I mean, he was
He's
super
a Japanese Einstein.
He was
Nah,
super sympathetic.
I think my favorite
Or
character,
Oppenheimer.
I think
Or
my
Oppenheimer.
a close first or second, right? In this case, would be the captain.
Captain was good too. I mean,
Because-
but
he
Captain
was
was also
funny.
just harsh the entire time, which, but like he was comedic
makes
relief, but
sense.
also like strong.
Yeah. But I liked him because it's just like you see the personality of a guy that, like, you know what, he hates the government. He talks about like, dude, I hate the government, but you know what, he still ends up doing like, I'm gonna do it anyways, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, Captain, why are you gonna do this for the government? I thought you hated it. I'm like, yeah, but doesn't mean I want the people in Tokyo to suffer.
Yeah.
You know what was his hardest line? Was when the kid was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, like I want to go with you."
Yeah, and he's
It's
like,
like, "No,
you're,
I'm leaving you the future."
Yeah.
Dude,
That
that was
was
that
pretty-
was
That was
Yeah,
hard.
mic drop, dude.
Yeah.
And
then
the
that's a
doc
bar.
was part
That's
of
a
that
bar.
scene too. The doc was like, "No, you're not gonna go."
Yeah.
And like even I was like I like the sciencey part too of like
Yeah.
the freon gas and like the inflatable devices to try to
But
pressurize
the one-
and
the
depressurize
one-
them.
And the one thing I liked about those characters, they really went out of their way, like, hey, you know what? If this kid hasn't seen war, he doesn't need to fucking see this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
he doesn't need to see this.
But you know
devastation.
what? That kid still came around and actually
did.
like pulled.
He saved them.
Man,
He
he
saved
really
their ass.
saved.
Their ass.
And
But-
that's the
Clutched
thing,
up.
bro. This movie's all about that Japanese spirit. Like that's like a legit thing, you know. Like they say, like, you know, gambate. Like that's like, yo, like you got this. You could do it.
You're like, Kanpai!
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
That's
Isaac.
exactly what I'm
That's
talking
exactly
Yeah.
right.
about.
But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating when you do have the main character be someone who is too emotional and like not saying he doesn't have justifications for being sad or angry or like scared, but it's just like way overacted compared to some of like the side characters, which was interesting. Like I don't understand that, like why he
But-
needed to be such.
But if you see like an anime and like they also like they overacted too in anime. Like when they do the animations or stuff like that, you definitely see that. Even though it's a cartoon, it's like I feel like I was kind of watching what would happen like in an anime or something. So
yeah, sometimes.
So I feel like it translates to that's how they are they film.
I feel like
And
anime.
at any point, this is kind of an ad for us.
Hold up.
because we gotta try to interact with our audience. At any point that you guys think that you guys disagree, please interact with us because
Yeah.
we want to see more engagement from you guys.
Right.
And we're putting our own ad right now.
Right.
Yeah,
So 4 Guys 1 Film. Please follow us everywhere. And
Instagram, Letterbox, TikTok, your mom.
Twitter. You know, George is gonna be a new admin for Twitter, and he's gonna be responding 24/7.
yeah. brother.
X.
Formerly known
24/7.
as Twitter.
George is also getting on the Trump social media apps too, just because.
Right.
Yeah, what is it? Truth. We're also doing the liberal ones,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
He's doing
whatever
Fee
it's
Finder.
called.
Feet Finder,
Yeah.
you find us on
Right.
Feet Finder.
But-
Find us on
Grind-
whatever
Grindr.
the feet one is. What's that
yeah,
one?
George specifically
Only
is on
Feet?
Grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say was, I get the whole point of like how social or different media types of, especially Japanese media, will have very exaggerated characters, but I feel like it's consistent, right? Like that's my thing is like if I'm watching an anime, everybody's got like the face that blows up all of a sudden when they're angry and then comes down,
Or the bloody nose.
or the bloody noses. Like, every
one's a
character
staple.
has that possibility, with the exception usually of like what's supposed to be like a mature character, like for example like Ash Ketchum's mom, where she's just there. She's a mother figure. She's chill, so she's supposed to show the kids are immature. I'm a mother. But here it was really weird. Like I get that Shikishimo maybe was also supposed to be caught as someone immature, but it felt like only he was. Like we talked about Noriko, how Noriko was like a G the whole fucking movie.
Yeah,
too.
Shishima was like, why did you adopt that girl if it wasn't part of your blood? I'm like, dude, that was like her mom's dying wish was like, hey, can you please take care of my daughter?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I couldn't say no. And he's like, and then he's like, well, you did the exact same thing because you didn't leave her in the middle of the square. So it was just like, he just didn't want to, like, I feel like his biggest issue, he didn't want to confront shit. Like, he didn't want to be like, okay, how do I really feel about the situation? Because again, he didn't marry her. He was trying to, like, let's start from the beginning. He didn't want to do the right thing by like trying to help out his partners trying to like fight Godzilla. He was being a puss the whole time.
Well, it's just like he wasn't fulfilled with himself, so he couldn't fulfill any aspect of his own life because he's such a failure. You know?
I don't think he was just a failure. I going back to just like he just didn't know what he wanted to do. I feel like he kept getting wrung up into situations.
Because he had one purpose, which was to fucking die.
Yeah,
and that didn't happen.
Service of your country.
Right, exactly. So he's just like lost.
Yeah.
Like he's lost himself, lost to all these other people.
But maybe overacting is the wrong thing. I just think he played a really bad person who's dealing with this shit. Like I felt like it felt more cartoony than someone who's like genuinely traumatized, which is what he was. He was traumatized, and like it was only when he finally like kind of started reeling back from it that I really like enjoyed his character more and more. Or like when he wasn't showing the trauma, but whenever he was supposed to be like in shock or dealing with it, like I was just like I was taken out of it. I didn't really see someone who just experienced all that fucking tragedy, you know.
Didn't we see Godzilla Minus One in theaters together?
We did.
I just remembered that.
And I will say it's still a great movie.
Yeah.
And it's still like every character has likable features. I just think that was probably one of the most dislikable features in any of the characters.
I agree.
Well, one thing I really liked about this movie, a really important thing that I saw is like this movie seemed practical in the sense like to the actual settings, to the actual way they filmed it, and to even the actual plan that they had used to like, hey, we're gonna defeat Godzilla in a very practical manner. Like, yeah, we can't blow him up. Like they use traditional methods, but they didn't do it like in other Godzilla movies. Like, okay, we're gonna summon a fucking kaiju or some.
Right.
Or some,
we're
gonna do some black magic
bomb.
and raise King Kong from
I think made it very attractive.
Pacific Rim. Yeah, which I love that movie.
Yeah,
that movie's great. The
great.
second one,
awesome.
oh my god.
Let's not talk about that one.
Doesn't
I didn't mean to cut you off.
With John Boyega, fuck that guy. Been in every he ruins franchises. I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah.
But
has he been cast in anything lately?
No, because he ruins franchises. What do you think? He ruins
No,
Star Wars.
I know. Well, I'm kind of happy about it. I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy. Don't put him in anything ever again.
All right, but being back to Godzilla, like it was like they had practical solutions to like practical problems. It didn't seem too outrageous at any fucking point. Like, and I think that's what made one. It made it visually stunning. 2, it made sense. 3, it followed actual logic, and 4, it made sense in the way like, hey, you know what? Like if we had to fight Godzilla and we were in their time, this is kind of a good way to like kill him, probably. Yeah.
Sink him, and then make him float back up.
Yeah.
It's science.
How does he stand on water? That's what I'm like.
His feet are going like.
Is he just treading the entire time? I don't know. I'm like,
Yeah.
So now that we've kind of like talked an overview of this movie, what are your guys' favorite scenes so far?
Mine for sure.
As the movie went on.
I love that scene where they're like in the boat, right? Like destroying the mines or something, or the bombs in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Godzilla comes out, right? And then you see like his face pop up.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the water, and he just got this like weird like. I actually got kind of scared seeing him.
And the score helped.
Yes.
the score was
the classic Godzilla entrance. Fucking it slapped. The 3 times that they played it. It fucking slapped.
Yeah, it hits hard.
It hit real because they didn't use it every time he shot. He popped up,
which is good. It would have been overdone.
But when he was making an impact and they played that, you knew like he was gonna do some shit. He was gonna go fucking like Goku on their ass and like fuck them up with some command.
Dude, and the way he uses his atomic breath, it was like a singular point of like a beam of energy.
I really like
that was crazy because like it would hit, and then you'd get that delay, and then boom. Crazy.
Yeah, the first time he unleashed the atomic breath was pretty fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Again, they did a good job at using him. The VFX of that whole movie was great. Like
it was.
And it wasn't really needed for a lot of the times. So it was nice.
No.
Okay, Nick, what's your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the scene where he shows up in Ginza and like just all the havoc and destruction that he caused. all the like, even just like the reporter. I was thinking about how.
Oh, when they were on the building.
Yeah, I was thinking about how truthful that scene would be. Like, at first I thought it was kind of silly, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, oh, there'd absolutely be some ambitious motherfucking idiots who are like, yeah, I gotta get the scoop. But like we talked about the day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow, yeah, the guy gets hit by a billboard.
Yeah, because they're fucking busy recording.
Wait, at this time it was just radio, right?
Yeah, it was just radio. So he was just radio.
Even worse.
So it's every era.
Get the visual, just fucking radio and run, bro.
Yeah, brother. When in Egypt all the fucking plagues and shit were hitting, some dude was carving into a rock.
Right.
What's fucking happening right now? And still got hit by everything.
Y'all not gonna believe this shit.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. It was visually stunning too. Like watching him do the atomic breath there. Like seeing how hard it hit like towards that Capitol building, and then like we talked about how Noriko like just got absolutely walloped by a wall of fucking like just debris. It was insane. I mean, it like that for me sold it on the Oscar for the visual effects. Like that whole scene, like
very well deserved.
Very well deserved.
Very well.
And I want more studios to like, hey, we're gonna put a hard budget. Like, hey, you got like now that like for $15 million you get this Oscar-winning movie. Like,
well, it is Japanese wages too. So
you also have to realize though, like with the budget, I think it's a matter of them distributing it.
We're skipping ahead, but what's your favorite scene?
He's like, I didn't even watch the movie.
No, I really like the scene on the train where she's in the train and Godzilla pops out of nowhere, and then there's she's like falling off of it, and then he's like, for the first time you'll see him like utter destruction in the city.
That
and then
around the scene that you
yeah, that was like right before that. It was because she dangled off the bar and she jumped into the water,
and then she just walks.
Yeah. No, so I guess I had a similar favorite scene to next.
It's a very good scene too. I was actually
you can't hate it, dude.
You can't hate on a good scene.
I can't hate on that. Yeah.
What about you, Isaac?
I think my favorite scene was when all four of them were together when he had just finished building his house after doing this dangerous job, and like I liked it because it was the calm before the storm, really, because everything was going perfect, nothing was like really coming at him. Everybody was okay with their position in the family and in his work dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I got to say about this movie, as far as the tone it sets, is like compare it to Pacific Rim, right? Love the visuals, love the theme, love the music of that movie, but like I always picture myself as a superhero type when I picture myself in that movie, versus this one is such a relatable movie. It's like they're just trying to live their lives, especially post-war. Like that's probably the most unrelatable for us because we've never experienced war, but everything else is like, I'm just trying to provide for my family. I'm just trying to make sure it's good. I'm trying to deal with my own demons. And one of the demons happens to be a fucking, 90 feet tall lizard, and shit like that, which is crazy. Yeah. But it's such a great, like, relatable aspect of the movie when you think of scenes like that.
And then, like, I also appreciate the movie as a whole, just because if you look at it just individually, like, even if, like, fucking Godzilla was excluded from the situation and what's the main guy? I can't pronounce his name. Koichi or
Shikishima.
Koichi.
Yeah,
they call him Shikishima-san.
Shikishima-san or Koichi.
Koichi. Like, let's say he was a fighter. Like he's still a fighter pilot. He did war and stuff. And then I think it still would have been a good story to just follow his life and how it was happening post-war. Like, if you take Godzilla out of the equation and you continue his story without Godzilla in it, I think it's still a good movie.
It is a good story. Yeah.
I think that's what makes a great movie, because it's like, if you like, this is what we're talking about, Godzilla versus King Kong or whatever, is just like, it has no plot when you take those two people away, versus you can make a movie about what he was dealing with and it'd still be a pretty good movie. Yeah,
like both, like if you take both elements from this movie and make it into separate movies, I think they're still good. Like they stand alone just great. Like,
I will say it was a pleasant surprise, honestly, when everyone kept raving and like hollering about how this Godzilla film is one of the best ever. I was like, how good could it be? It's about a fucking giant kaiju monster, like, and all the ones prior to it that I've seen were horrendous.
But again, it had a story.
No. I'm just saying it was pleasantly surprising, and I did not expect it whatsoever from this film.
One of the things that I feel like sets Godzilla up as a big threat too is, like, you look at a movie like Cloverfield and they're dealing with the monster over a period of like 3 days, I think. And
it was 24 hours.
It was 24 hours, so even shorter. And it's so short in time that you're like, you don't really know how fucked up this monster is versus, and like what its motivations are. Is it territorial? Is it just there to wreak havoc? But in this one, like, they talk about that. They're like, so Godzilla is emerging little by little. He's going towards the shoreline. He then goes into Ginza, and they're like, he's establishing this as a Ginza, thank you. He's establishing this as a part of his territory, right? So all of a sudden, you're starting to relate to him as a force of nature that is like very like predatorial, like a normal animal, and you're like, oh shit, like this means like he's gonna start to completely expand further in. His motivations, are they food? Doesn't seem like he's eating anybody. He's just straight up trying to take over. It actually makes it more real and makes it scarier. You're like, it's a fucking force of nature it isn't just like some sort of abnormal monster that comes from space or
like,
some shit like
how
that.
can I stop it?
Exactly.
I can't. We can.
Yeah. And I think my biggest regret about this movie is not actually watching it in like movie theaters. I think
this was your first time?
I watched it, and that's kind of why I suggested it, because I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, I heard a lot of good things.
And the movie theater was phenomenal.
This is a theatrical movie, like,
dude. Even
it's just so good.
I was watching it while I was exercising, and it was just like, it was such like, I forgot I was even exercising because the movie just captivated me like that much. Like
the fact that you liked it, even not watching it in theaters, and like while you were on the treadmill and doing other shit, it says something. It's a statement, like about how good this movie is.
And I'm the type of guy that has like 4 or 5 things playing at the same time. I'm fucking neurotic like that, and like this was like.
Did you say erotic?
Neurotic.
I heard erotic.
I heard erotic.
Yeah, I was, like,
I was hoping for erotic.
What is he watching?
I was
Wait until the leg, buddy.
Man, your dopamine receptors are fried, my guy.
Brother, you'll fucking see me in Lake Havasu getting all fucking sexy.
Yeah, brother. He's gonna be neurotic and erotic.
Yeah. But like I'm the type of guy that like nothing can hold my attention. Like I need to have 4 different things holding my attention. And this thing was like a very singular thing, and I
what a flex.
And I could fucking like just look at it, and it was great. I enjoyed every fucking minute of it, and I'm gonna say something very fucking. I'm sad that I watched it dubbed.
Bro,
I'm sad. I didn't have enough time to actually like just sit there and like.
I thought you were better than that.
I am better than this, and and this is disappointment.
Wait, it's out in both, right? But you said you didn't watch.
He made a choice. He made a choice to watch
Fellas,
it.
we're renting a plane, and Isaac's getting in it, and he's driving it into a building. That's the only thing we can do.
Like Shikishima.
You gotta be Shikishima.
So I saw the first half of it subbed, and I enjoyed it. Like
right,
and then I watched the second half of it in dub,
and you realized how bad the voice acting is.
Not necessarily the voice acting. I didn't like the voice actors behind them.
Who were these guys? Who were the people doing the English dub? Huh?
I don't know.
Also, when the voice and like the mouth is not in sync, I fucking hate that. It throws me off so much.
Yeah, I don't know any of these voice actors, which tells me a lot.
Which is why they are voice actors.
Bro, they only had $15 million budget. All right, guys. What do you want? Brad Pitt is the main guy? Fuck.
Hey, he managed to make a cameo in Deadpool. He can make a cameo in this.
Yeah, but that's the one thing. Another regret I have about this movie is not fully watching it in sub, and I don't recommend it. If you have the time to like fully invest in this movie, it's worth it to watch it in sub. It's worth it to give it your undivided attention, because when I first started watching this movie, I'm like, dude, this movie's almost 2.5 hours long. I'm like, fuck, I don't got time to just sit down and watch 2.5 hours. Like, I got to do something else. So I tried scheduling it during my workouts, and fuck, it was the first half that I was on the treadmill, like, cause I was on the treadmill for like an hour. It was so fucking good. I had to stop myself from like watching it into the night. And I was like, "Fuck! I don't want to wake up like too fucked up the next day." So
yeah,
this is definitely a movie that I think anybody can enjoy. It's a very impactful story. It's a very
it's a family film.
It's a family film.
It's a film for family.
And like fucking, there's nothing much to say about this movie.
I'm kind of upset because I had an opportunity to go see the film in L.A. And with the director.
Alexis, when the fuck don't you? Okay.
Yeah, the director was there.
He does every screening with the
Scott
director.
Pilgrim, like I saw it with this fucking Tarantino's fucking movie.
Cure was incredible.
Which one did you do recently? The one with Willem Dafoe?
I just saw Twin Peaks recently, and Ray Wise was there. You guys don't know who he is. But anyways,
let's talk about rankings of Godzilla movies. Alexis, I know Godzilla.
I haven't seen enough to rank them.
You're very intimate with this series. Where do you put this? Like in your opinion, because
well, I haven't seen all those like other like Mecha Godzilla or Godzilla versus Ghidorah.
The problem with Godzilla,
Son of Godzilla.
Is that the one with the 3 heads, or which one?
Yeah, the 3-headed beast.
Gogeta.
I think let's talk about the main timeline. And
Gojira?
From like 2020
Isn't that banned too?
From like let's say 2000 to 2024. I think we've all seen those, because the ones before, there's a lot of like.
Well, you remember the American Godzilla, right? The really shitty one.
Yeah.
Where the Godzilla just looks like a deformed T-Rex.
Yeah.
You've seen that one.
Yeah.
Horrible. We've seen Shin Godzilla.
Yeah.
Totally different type of Godzilla film. Way more political, I think.
Yeah.
More about the politics than the people.
The CGI kind of trash.
Trash in some points and incredible in others. And actually, I think it's the visual effects director of that film was the director of the actual film of Godzilla Minus One.
He had to redeem his honor because
Yeah.
he's like, this shit was ass, my boy. He's like, I gotta come
I bring
back.
dishonor to my family.
But I think Shin Godzilla is
I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna cut that out. You fucking racist.
I bring.
I thought he was gonna let it slide for a second. I was like, no, nothing.
Dude, actually, we got 2 Japanese persons in here, asshole.
Jesus Christ, Christ, man.
We got the.
We make
in-house
a full. We make a
Japanese
full
man
one here. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's a good example too with Shin Godzilla, where it's like it's a movie that's not just about one aspect of a monster trying to rampage.
Mhm.
It's like the politics, which makes it way
Yeah.
more interesting.
That movie is more about like how humanity will fail to
And
do
to
something.
react, yeah.
And so like they're both doing totally opposite things.
I think actually they're perfectly aligned, because in Godzilla Minus One, it is not the government. The humans decide to say, all right, let me just do this.
Yeah. And I appreciate them both for their own thing.
Technically, in
you know?
1947, Japan didn't have that much of a government.
Right.
It was mostly like the U.S. like, we can't take care of it because Russian problems. You guys got to figure this out. Here's some destroyers. Figure it out.
Take it.
Yeah.
And then all the American Godzillas in between are just kind of. I like the first one. No, the one that came out like 2014
Is that
or
the one
something.
that had Bryan Cranston?
Yeah. Like that wasn't too bad.
Actually, that one wasn't bad. Yeah.
But I didn't like it because it tried to follow the whole like kaiju episode thing where, in these Japanese monster shows, it's usually like, oh, like you see all this like plot with like the human characters, and then the last 10 minutes you get the final like
But
fight.
The plot in a lot of the American movies is kind of shitty. Like,
Yeah,
It's so bad.
it is because actually the people in these movies you don't really give a shit about.
yeah.
You just kind of want to see the action and then
We're
go
here
home.
for the fight. We know what we're here
Right,
for.
but this one Minus One
Minus
has
One.
everything.
I think, like I said, I think for me it comes down to like the type of people that they're showing. It's simple characters who you can relate to, who are lovable, and you have opinions about them, whether they're good or bad at times.
Mm-hmm.
They have
And-
real world problems.
Exactly, with
Yeah.
real world problems. You're
Yeah.
not seeing someone who's like, I am the lead scientist for the U.S. Navy or
Right.
something. And
Andre,
you're
can,
like,
can you do a
fuck
quick
off.
look up who was the guys that financed this movie? Was it Toho? I think it was, or
It should have been.
it
Pretty
looked
sure
like,
they're the.
'cause I remember,
Yeah, Toho.
dude, those guys just fucking know how to make a movie. They know how to make an animated movie. They know those guys are fucking great.
Mhm.
Like they really know how to like produce something. Like because I know they worked on fucking Dragon Ball. I think when they did the relaunch of Super.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic ass fucking movie.
Yep.
That those guys know how to work a fucking budget. Work these
Dude,
Japanese
I don't know
into it.
how they managed to write a great script, great characters.
Underpaid workers.
Mhm.
Terrible hours.
No,
With
I
a
know,
lot
but-
of motivation.
I mean, yeah, I think that's what it is also, because like it comes to show, if you really want to make it happen, you can. Especially
You just gotta
even
threaten
with
your employees.
No life.
All right, Nick, you got a point, but
and again, if you guys disagree with us at any point, please.
Yeah, if you disagree with us, fight me. Watch the last episode
Yeah.
of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 and tell me I'm fucking wrong. those guys walked
those guys
out.
are overworked.
They walked out, and you could see it in the last episode.
Hey Nick, how about you fucking read it, you asshole?
I can't read.
Jujutsu Kaisen's great though.
Yeah, but please interact with us at any point. If you guys have an adverse
Cut me off.
an adverse opinion,
Oh, okay.
please put it in our accounts. We want to hear from you. We want to hear more engagement. We want to be present. We want to make sure that we hear your guys' reviews and what you guys think. Or call me a fucking retard. I don't give a shit. Like I want to hear opinions here out here, boys.
Can't say that. Can't say
I'm
that.
calling myself a
Jesus.
retard, so it's okay.
Cool.
Oh,
not to
my
bleep it twice.
God.
Go ahead.
He doubled down.
But yeah, we want more engagement for you guys because we want to interact. We're out here for the long run. We're about to hit. How many episodes are we in now?
We're on the 24th episode. We just started season 2.
Yeah.
Kobe.
So we want more engagement from you guys, and we're gonna do another 100 episodes hopefully here for you guys.
Dude,
And,
we can try. We can hit 100. I think we could do it.
yeah, and so yeah. All right, Alexis, let's hear those letterbox reviews right now.
Yeah, man. Jumping onto that, we like to listen to what you say, and boy, you guys have a lot to say. Okay, this one, let's start a little low, just a little low. 3.5 stars by
Crazy.
Razvan Films. Okay,
Crazy.
this is what they say. I expected a little more. The CGI and the score were perfect. I felt something was missing in the plot. The acting could have been better. The great ending saved the film. Overall, not bad, but a bit disappointed. Hope to like it on rewatch. I don't know.
That's kind of crazy ass fucking opinion right there, Raz, man.
I think I'd be curious if we look at his profile. I'm not saying we gotta do that right now, but I'm sure if you explored his profile, like, do you see more Japanese films in his repertoire? Because I think we talked about it. Like, you can't not overact the Japanese media. It's kind of the thing they do, and you got to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I feel like the plot was pretty solid in this one. I don't really know.
The acting was great.
I don't really have too many complaints on the plot.
Maybe they saw it dubbed. You know, maybe the dub experience fucked it
the
up.
dub experience is ass compared to the sub.
Right.
So.
Always.
Always.
Yeah, but when you like you and I know how to factor that. We're like we know it's especially because I watched it in theaters sub, so I knew when I rewatched it dubbed, it was just like you like with you out of necessity to make sure I had it fresh in my mind. So I didn't really take away from my experience. Yeah.
Can't really hate on his review, but 3.5 stars, so whatever. Let's hate on this guy though. This guy gave it a half.
Oh shit!
And listen,
animal,
what?
He's
so
racist.
This is
going against the grain.
Their name is CB. They start off like this. I wish I could give this a -1.
Wow!
What the fuck?
Okay. That was funny. Yeah,
that's good though.
His mom
They
didn't
say.
like him, huh?
They say, I also wish this movie was minus the lead character. Wow, you're just really using these minus.
You really wanted him to do the deed.
I really wish.
He says, a useless excuse for a sentient being whose arc doesn't absolve him of the 30,000 people he could have saved early in the movie. Was it really 30,000 people could have saved?
It was 300.
Sounds like this guy has something personal going on with this and honor.
Again, this guy did technically the right thing, because even if he would have shot Godzilla at the beginning of the movie with that 20mm cannon, it wouldn't have done shit to him.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, we saw he had regenerative capabilities.
I know. Yeah,
the fucking nuke landed on top of him and he transformed.
Yeah.
What do you think? A fucking little.
This guy's not done. He's not done.
Yeah, let him finish.
Listen to this.
Finish.
He says FX wasn't that great either, particularly the water. He's talking about the water.
The water was great. What are you talking about?
The physics of the water was not.
And then he says, my kids' plastic Godzilla action figures have more mobility. And then he says, great boobs, though. I don't get that.
He was a little rigid.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Did you watch the same fucking movie?
And then he says, lame ending too, completely spineless. And why the F was the lead character headbutting tables all the time? I've watched a few Japanese movies in my time. This is new. And then he ends it with this. Please call Gareth Edwards and tell him the big lizard needs his help again. He's talking about Gareth Edwards, the director of the first Godzilla. 2014, I think.
Wow. This guy sounds like someone who's just like, this movie's got Japanese people, and that's my problem. Honestly,
dude, I feel like he just wanted to give it a -1 just to do the jokes.
But because
it also sounds like he's hitting on certain.
The point
points.
of why is he headbutting the table? It's like, are you fucking kidding me? That's literally the point of like, this is the highest level of like, please and like forgive
respect,
me. Yeah, like is to put your head to a surface for them. That's why they were always like, whoa, chill, like. It's not that serious.
You need to take it that far, dude.
Yeah, because like I don't know. It's like for someone who's watched Japanese movies in the past, it's probably all hentai. But anyway, yeah, I don't know.
It's because he didn't have enough tentacles.
That was a -1.
That was a -1 review. I agree. Do you guys want to hear one more?
Yeah, give us one more.
I want to hear like two more.
Okay, two more.
Are these guys aren't our followers?
Okay, this one. All right, this one. These are not our followers. These are new people.
New people.
The people that we follow would give good reviews.
Yeah, they would. They're hung.
All right, this one's good. 5 stars by Matt. I've never ugly cried this much before until now. Holy shit, man. I didn't expect myself emotionally crying over this film. This is their first Godzilla movie. Did not disappoint, but destroyed me right in the heart. A heavy and touching story about mankind and a monster. From now on, I'll try my best to watch more Godzilla films.
You know what?
Well, this is a high bar, though. I don't think all the other Godzilla movies are this good.
Yeah, they're not that good.
I was going to say, prepare to be disappointed.
Maybe the original one.
But also, this movie did have a lot of emotion in it, you know?
Yeah, I think...
it had a lot of cultural aspects.
I cheered up a little bit,
not
gonna lie. Cheered up a little bit.
I didn't, but a part of me was about to shit for like, really? But then I'm like, yeah,
you were going to shit yourself?
No, always. But I was about to shit on him for crying, but I was just genuinely like... Wait, like, don't be a dick. Like, people have different reactions emotionally to things. Yeah. That's great because it is an emotional, like.
Yeah. Sorry, we're not also emotionally sound, Nick.
And evolved.
It doesn't hit you that hard.
He did.
Jesus.
There's change.
Yeah, brother.
All right, last one. I think this one's pretty good. This guy says the true essence of Godzilla is captured in this film. The American interpretations are completely inferior to what Yamazaki has beautifully created. 4 stars.
Can't disagree with that. Cannot disagree with that.
This guy's name is Alexis Bau. That's crazy.
Bao? Was it?
Is that you? Is that your fucking review?
Wait a second.
Are you fucking with us?
Oops, that was my review.
Uh,
On my Letterboxd
my
account.
God. You're slimy, dude. You try to.
Did you
He
just
pulled
take
the
this?
fast one.
He took this
He
moment
pulled
to
the
plug
fast
his
one,
own
right.
fucking
That's
letterbox.
crazy,
This
man.
guy's-
That's crazy.
He's trying to show us that he's
Yeah.
better than we
He's
are.
like, I know a Japanese guy's name.
I got 14 likes on that review. Just saying.
14 too many. Anyway,
God damn. just say you hate American films, bro. Fuck.
yeah.
All right, Nick, this is your second time watching this movie. What do you give this in 1 through 10?
I think this is a solid 8. I think this is a great movie. It has a lot of really good aspects to it. Very few things that we talked about we didn't really like as a group and individually. So I'd say recommend. Go watch it, man.
What could have made it a 10 though?
I feel like the acting being more either all overacted or all serious. I didn't, like I said, for me it takes me out when half of the cast is very like focused and like very like stoic or kind of really seriously acted. Like we talked about the captain and Doc, like they're the same either every time, versus the other part of the cast being a little too like overacted.
Beautiful explanation, Nick. I listened to every single word that you said. I
know
totally
you
understand. I totally agree.
We're not distracted over
Not
here
at all.
doing anything else.
Alexis, what was your review on the movie?
You know, initially my first one,
We kind of heard it already.
you know,
but-
I gave it four stars, which is about an 8.
Yeah.
But upon reflection, you know, I think I give it a 9.
Wow.
I give it a 9 because
That's really
it's just
good.
the people, man. It just really like reinforces my love for people, and it shows us what we're capable of.
And they even go through it in the movie when the doc says like, "We're here for the people."
Right, exactly,
We're not
exactly.
here for individuals.
And you know, there might be a sequel, so I'm just wondering, what are they going to do
I
this
hope
time?
there's not a sequel because this is done
well, the way
really
it ended,
well.
it kind of ends like there's going
Right.
to be a sequel. Like he,
You know, I
If
wouldn't
they
mind.
make a sequel, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't mind movies like this getting a sequel. I would want it to be a sequel where it's completely new characters though.
Oh
Completely
yeah,
different
totally.
setting.
Like new
like,
new
don't
way.
bring
Oh,
it
Yeah,
like-
I'm like,
like,
if,
I would-
if it's
I
not
would
broken,
see,
don't fix it. I'm like,
Right.
leave it as is.
like
But if
I
there's
want
new
to see
characters,
Aiko
then
grow
I'm down.
up. Like maybe she's an adult now.
Right. Maybe she gets to ride a Jaeger.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Am I right?
God.
Am I right?
Nah, see, I wouldn't want that because
No.
it would have
No.
to,
No.
it would give this movie too much.
No,
like,
no Pacific
we're-
Rim.
It cheapen it.
Yeah, 'cause a lot
Akiko
of
becomes
the-
the Asian girl who got saved.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Dude.
So if they made a sequel, it'd be Godzilla 0.
Godzilla
Yeah,
0.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, George, what's your review on the movie?
I
Have you
have
seen
no
this?
complaints. I loved it. I
Is it your
really
first
liked
or second time
This is
watching
about a
it?
10?
This is my second time, but I will say the second time I didn't watch it fully because I did fall asleep. It's a long movie. I had a long day. But from everything I recall, the score was amazing. The plot, the character development, everything. It kind of hit me in a way where I'm like, I try to put myself in his shoes, the main character. And honestly, I don't know what I would do in a situation like that. You're a fucking kamikaze pilot. You deflected. You know, you're trying to defected, sorry. And then you're trying to bring that honor back and, you know, redeem yourself, and it just hit home. I loved it. I really don't have any complaints. I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Wow.
Solid movie.
Great.
Wow.
Wow. I
Last but not least, our host.
really like this movie. You know, it was
5.
No, I'm not that harsh with this movie. I think if you look at it as a whole and you look at it in the genre that's in, it wasn't cheesy. It wasn't like it wasn't overly produced. It was just like, hey, we're gonna let the story talk for itself. The actors are gonna do what they're gonna do, and Godzilla's not gonna be. He's a focal point, but he's not the focal point. It's the people that are evolving through the movie and then transforming, and you see like how everybody by the end of it unites and becomes a cohesive group, even though they have their differences. Like especially like if you see the mechanic and
The pilot.
Tachibana and the pilot, you know, like they you see the little scene where he's like, hey, those guys those guys ended up living. You know, like they would want, like if those guys were living, they would want you to live on. So I put an ejector seat for you just in case that's something you want to do. Because like I don't know, like, oh shit, he died.
I thought he died.
I'm like,
he fucking did.
He's finally not a fucking puss, dude.
Would you guys preferred it if he died, or do you think it was more impactful that he lived?
I think it would have been more impactful if he died.
I agree. Yeah,
because
I think it would have kind of gone full circle. And
yeah,
it's just like he finished his destiny. But I did really like that they were kind of like, you don't need to die to. They
made it they ended it more on a positive note, which was nice. You don't see it too much.
The thing that I feel like is
which is less realistic, but
yeah. Well, I will say this: like him not dying is, I feel like, a great political statement for a country like Japan at that time, where for so many years and for so many centuries they thought of death as a rite of passage itself and like a way to build honor or like carry honor to the afterlife, where it's like, I think that was probably the time when they were starting to abandon that notion, when they're like, no, like, live, like, what the fuck,
like if you can live, and like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, like you don't need to die to, you know, restore your honor. Just either go to jail or I don't know, fucking say sorry,
or
like,
you know what, or just be better next time.
Exactly, exactly. Like, actually kill yourself next time. Just shut God. Like, no, just kidding. Jesus.
But dang, dude, the Japanese and the ancient Egyptians, man, they just got this thing with
hardcore,
death,
man.
dude.
Yeah, it's nuts. That's what I'm saying. Like, I kind of like that he lived, because it kind of seems like people were kind of starting to realize, like, there's so much useless death in our history and in our wars that we don't need to keep pushing that. And it felt like it was coming from the people, not from the government, which was also more impactful.
Yeah, and they also they gave them the choice. They were just like, hey, we're not going to force you to do this. You know, you can do it if you want to, or live. You know? So,
Isaac, what was your score?
This is a nail biter, because I'm thinking between like 8.5 and a 9.7.
Crazy.
That's
you're going from like a really good movie to like almost perfect.
Yeah. Again, because I like big war movies.
Usually it's like 8.5 to maybe like 9.
No, I'm super torn, because it's just like, if I look at it, if it's just like a monster movie, it's a 9.7. But if I look at it, it's just simply as an evolution of a guy that went through this horrific, you know, thing that happened to him during the war and after, I think it's like an 8.5.
So the genre.
So like, it depending on like what.
Why not both?
Well, you're huge on rewatchability. So how do you think the
rewatchability on this movie I think is high. I think you can watch this movie like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, especially because the runtime is nice. It's not.
It's like 2.5
hours is a little.
It's not terrible
much,
though.
It doesn't feel like that long.
No, it definitely did not. But it is 2.5 is like more the standard these days, I feel like.
But you know, again, I liked it all. Again, if I look at it like that, I don't know. I think I'm gonna give this movie an 8.9.
8.9.
8.9. That's good.
That's crazy. I'll just give it a 9.
I think
it's like someone's got a round.
One of the highest ones we've done in a while.
Yeah. Dude, we give this film an 8.6 altogether. Which if we round up, remember rounding, George? That's a 9.
What? How does that work?
That's a 9.
Oh my god!
We didn't even talk about like the cultural impact that it had briefly, because it was like Oppenheimer was going on, and then Godzilla Minus One. And it's like, you know, these are
almost opposite perspectives on the same
exactly
thing.
It was Barbenheimer Minus One.
Yeah, I mean, I know Barbie was like the thing too, but like I think these were more relevant, you know, to each other.
I think if you look
Lexus just hates West media, that's why he's just like,
I love Barbie.
I think if you look at 3 of those,
fucking loved it.
If you put those 3 movies like together, I think I would probably watch Godzilla Minus One more than probably Barbie or Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is like a 3-hour fucking movie.
Oppenheimer was long,
and I watched it 3 times.
That one actually felt.
And actually, we have a secret review of that one that's out there. We never put it out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we never released that one, huh? And well, let us know in the comments if you guys want us to release it. We'll put it out there.
Like, nah, keep that shit hidden.
They're like, we don't want to fucking hear you guys review.
I don't want to hear you guys.
Yeah, but
Alexis just kept saying they deserved it. I don't know why. I was just so shocked. I was like, "That's your head sisters, bro. What the fuck?"
Like, damn.
Just
hey, you already know he was a spy on this side, like for sure. He's just like, I can translate. What do you guys need?
He's like, I could look like them too, and then come back.
That's fucked up, guys.
But hey, if you guys want to keep interacting with us, please do on all of our social media accounts, and we want to hear you guys' opinions on the movie, because it's free to watch. It's one of the few movies that
If you have a Netflix subscription.
which like you could borrow your friends. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, it's harder now.
Well,
but yeah.
they're
No,
keeping track
Netflix is
of their
cracking down on
screens.
that. It's,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
but did you see how their stock went down when they tried implementing that bullshit?
No, their profits actually went up.
Oh, God.
so-
Here we go. Talking about profits.
All right.
Hey, you know what? This is the first time we're going to talk about how much money this movie made, and I'm kind of happy
Yeah,
we
I'm
did
good with
it.
that. I'm good with that.
I'm sick of talking about money.
You know what we didn't talk about? The title. What does it represent? What do we
-1.
think it is? I don't know.
I don't know.
Minus, could be a degree. My minus a degree, right? Like, like Godzilla, like it just got a little colder. You thought it got high, it got
I
cold.
mean, it looks like a C.
Right.
-1 Celsius.
Yeah. Dude, I actually went to the Godzilla store over there in Shinjuku, and they had all sorts of cool shit. I got a cool Godzilla -1 sticker.
You also
On my
got the
Hydro
stamps.
Flask. I got the stamps. I got the stamp.
Damn, I didn't get
bug.
that sticker.
Well, you know.
Sick, dude.
Dude,
Well, you guys should come.
I didn't want to go to that store because I knew I would have fucked it up.
Oh, that's some
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
That's some shit right there.
I-
For
I-
real.
I was making space for other stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I got a cool keychain.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for this episode,
Yeah.
boys. What do you guys think?
I think so. I think this is
Yeah.
a short and sweet one, and I think if you guys have any like recommendations, please let us know. Also, let us know if we're too long or if we're too boring at times.
We also went on a little hiatus, so it's been
Yeah.
a while.
But we're back.
We miss you guys.
well,
Hopefully, you guys miss us too.
Well, the viewers didn't really feel the hiatus because we kept sending them out. It just
That's true. But we personally have a little hiatus.
we had some personal things going on in the Four Guys one.
Right.
Nothing too crazy.
Mainly
Nothing
Alexa's
crazy.
just going on vacation.
Yeah, the lore was crazy.
Gator, just
We went
doing
to
his
vacation
thing.
the same place at different times.
I know, right? I know we did. It was like staggered.
But all right, that was Four Guys.
One film.
I was going to say -1.